All right, it's a day for us that's been a scramble, but it's been a good scramble, so we get a lot of information. And if you are just joining us or if you haven't been watching the news, there have been some major decisions announced by the Supreme Court. First and foremost, the case is regarding birthright citizenship, but a decision on birthright citizenship has not been made. This decision was whether or not district court judges have the ability to put a blanket injunction across the country, stopping a piece of legislation or stopping an executive order issued by an elected president. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 ruling, said no. In most cases, you do not. That district court judges don't have that power. The president of the United States does. So I don't know that if some people may feel like it gives power to the president. Some people feel like it takes power away from judges. But an appointed judge who was appointed by previous presidents, should they have the ability to shut down one judge, not a 9-court Supreme Court justice panel, but one judge, should they be able to shut that down? That's one of the decisions. The other decision, or one of the other of the three I'm going to talk about, the second one had to do with parental rights. It was a First Amendment case dealing with LGBTQ books and curriculum in school. There was a case before the Supreme Court. Do parents have the right to opt their children out of curriculum and books that violate or are against or opposed to their religious beliefs? The Supreme Court, once again in a 6-3 ruling, said yes, parents can opt their children out based on their religious beliefs. And lastly, also a First Amendment case, is Texas created a law that says in Texas, if you want to look at pornographic material online, you have to prove you are over 18 years old, that there has to be real age verification, not just asserting that you're over 18. That law was upheld, saying that it is constitutional for Texas to do this. It's important to Arizona because Arizona passed a similar law, which means that when our law goes into effect, the same thing will happen here. If you want to look at pornographic material online, you're going to have to prove you're over 18 years old. So those are the three. I'd love to get your opinions. Patricia, Pablo, either one of you, any one of those three, what do you think?
I thought that the judges always getting in the way of the president was exactly that, getting in the way.
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was just a lot of backpedaling, and I think that it's probably the right decision. I guess it's the Supreme Court.
So
I do trust them.
They're saying that this is going to create a lot more work, because now you're going to have to do individual cases or class action lawsuits. And by the way, a big thank you to Barry Markson for joining us. Markson is an attorney, and he is the legal analyst for KTAR News. We had an interview with him. If you want to get a lawyer's perspective, it'll be up on the podcast. It's on the YouTube, KTAR YouTube channel, and it's great information. But he said it may create more work, but would it also, do either of you think it's going to create more engagement from voters? Now knowing that who we vote for president is now going to have bigger implications.
I don't know. I think that the people don't realize that right now.
It's just that. If you go back, I go back to when there was not the same feeling, but it was similar, where Republicans were frantic when Obama was president. Do you remember that, Pablo? Republicans were frantic. And there was this, he's destroying our country sentiment. And that if we reelect this guy president, we'll never get our country back. There was really, that mantra was being felt by so many people. And I remember going on the air and saying it's just not true. I mean, I don't agree with the policies of the Obama administration, but no president is going to ruin the country. Right. Well, we're hearing the same thing from the other side about Donald Trump. Now we know that you can't rush to the courts and get a blanket injunction from a friendly judge. Do you think that motivates people to be very careful about who they elect?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, more than ever, yes.
And this is going to be a huge piece of the next presidential election. Trump's not running. Obviously, he's turned out. But
no, it'll be a talking point on their campaign.
Of course,
sure.
it's got to be, right? Don't you think? What about the others? What do you think? Well, especially Patricia, as a parent, the Supreme Court affirming that if you don't agree with the curriculum that your children are being taught in school, that you have a First Amendment right to pull your child out of that curriculum.
I think that's right. It
Yeah.
should have always been like that. That seems like a no-brainer.
And it doesn't matter if it's a religious thing or not. I just
Right.
think parents should have the final say.
Exactly.
We know
in anything.
We know that we have a requirement in this country, a basic education requirement, but I think that requirement has been abused for indoctrination, because if we were doing a good job of educating our children, people wouldn't be as upset about what's going on. Am I wrong about that?
It's taking away from the real problem.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as the other one goes, we've talked about this before. Back in the old days when pornographic material was magazines, you didn't have pornographic magazines on the magazine rack with all of the other magazines.
They were covered up.
They were covered up. So that's not a violation of the First Amendment that you had to show ID. The only difference being now is if you're my age and you walked into a store and you wanted to purchase a pornographic material, you didn't have to show ID. You looked old. It's like me. If I go in to buy a bottle of gin, and I never get carded. You know what I mean?
I get carded.
Shut up. It ruins everything.
No, I'm serious.
She
Like,
just ruins
my
everything.
goodness.
She ruins everything. I know you get carded. I know
Well, I'm
you get
just
carded,
saying, like,
Patricia.
well, because-
Congratulations.
Wow.
But that's the difference. I'm just saying, like, how are they going to show that ID?
Well, I don't know. There's going to have to be verification services that are created where you can go on and you can verify your age and then you're able to log in and whatever. But my point is, in this case, the way it's done online, there is no, if you look under 30, it's going to be, you're going to have to show age verification no matter who you are. That's the only difference. But they've been doing age verification for pornographic material forever.
Right.
So
For even anything on the internet and anything.
Yeah.
Right? It covers up.
So now it's not going to be you just have to swear that you're over 18.
I promise.
Yeah. But do you think this will help protect kids?
I hope it does.
No.
Because
You don't think so?
I
No.
can be
They're
positive
gonna
about
They're
it.
going to hit whatever button. And,
Well,
yeah.
because there's a limit. It's like if there's more than 50% of your content is pornographic, then you have to have an age verification. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
it's something like, I think it's something like that. So are these websites going to start packing, like, Pornhub is going to have a news channel, you know what I mean? To try to get around.
24 hours.
Yeah.
Live.
I'm being serious. Are they going to do something like that?
I'm being serious too. I don't think it's
Yeah.
going to. No, I don't. I think it's going to. Whatever.
Thanks for watching The Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.